All right, everyone, how we doing? Let's talk about this new Many Eyes album. Many Eyes, The Light Age, just came out Friday. Let's talk about it. Oh, and let me keep it straight up. These are just my first impressions. I only went through the album once, so this isn't a super in-depth album review. It's just my first general impressions. Yeah, I just finished listening to it. You can actually watch the full album reaction on the DTL R&R channel. But I just finished listening to it, and my general feelings on it is it's pretty good. Is it mind-blowing? No. Was there some things that left you wanting more, but not in a good way? Absolutely. There was a lot of stuff on this album that was pretty good, but they kind of stuck to general song structure. You're listening to the riffs, and it just feels like you could add a little extra zest to this. Like I was making the analogy, it's almost like you had a really good burrito, but no one offered you any hot sauce, and it's like they just needed to stick the dismount and throw a little hot sauce on there just to give a lot of these songs a general pizzazz. The pacing of the album was a little weird. That it was definitely it was front loaded with a lot of like okay songs. Like Revelation's really good, but I would say like Future Proof, Mystic Chord, and Third were definitely like what Mystic Chord's pretty good, but generally speaking, the first four songs were just kind of like they were fine. And then when we hit Harbinger and Speechless, that's where it like really fucking got up for me. And then I think I was like whatever about Servant, but then Amateur and Enough really hit hard during the end. So I think like a better pacing for this album was maybe go like Revelation, Harbinger, Speechless, then throw like Future Proof for a slow song, or actually Third, because that was a really good. It was slower and it's not my general vibe. I definitely like the more fast paced, upbeat songs, but Third was a really good showcase of Keith's vocal abilities outside of just like yelling and screaming and shit like that. It kind of was a really good showcase that has a very strong voice. So if we did more of a pacing of like Revelation, Harbinger, Speechless, then throw in Third, maybe do Mystic Chord, and then Future Proof, and then just and then just end it out with the same way we had it with Servant, Amateur Enough, and The Rainbow. So yeah, they would have benefited from a slight restructuring of songs, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. You get the full album listen the first or second or third time, and then after that, you're kind of just bopping around to the songs you like. So it's not the end of the world, but I think upon first listen, it would have benefited them a lot more from a slight restructuring. But yeah, what did I say? Like, yeah, some of the songs just don't have that like extra zest that you're used to when you hear Keith Buckley singing on a song. But also too, there is a lot of other shit that like shines through here in a really big fucking way. Like there was some song like Harbinger rips, Speechless rips, Amateurs and Enough rip. And I think that's enough for because like it's enough for fans to look at that and go, okay, you got to keep it in context. This band has been around for a year. Keith Buckley just quit one of the greatest bands to ever exist. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I genuinely believe that. Every Time I Die is one of the greatest bands to ever exist. He just left that. He's got a lot of emotions swirling. And then this band has been around for only a year. So for a band to put out to put out an album where genuinely about half the album rips pretty fucking hard, and then the rest of the album is just fine, but like a strong fine. The music's okay in the sense that if like any other shitty band had these songs, they'd be ecstatic to have these songs. You know what I'm saying? So even their worst songs are still a lot better than other bands. I just think it's tougher when you're a dude like Keith and everyone knows what you came from. There's a really high standard set on you that is kind of unfair, but that's life and it is what it is. So there were some songs that fell a little flat for me. They definitely could have added more, but also the other half of the album did go really strong. So to kind of like look at this glass half full, was this the best release I've heard from Keith Buckley? No. Was there a lot of good shit on it? Yes. Is there a lot of potential for them in the future? Absolutely. If they keep their shit together and they don't have another lineup, well, that's the other part of it too, where you're like, fuck, how will the next album be? Because they just got rid of their guitarist on this album. But I think if they can kind of like keep their shit locked in and not have like these constant lineup changes and try to avoid drama the best they can. I think give them like 2 more albums, and I think we're going to be hearing some really strong shit from them. But is this a bad album? Absolutely not. I don't think it's fair. I think a lot of the fans get really overly critical of this shit. But is it like, did it blow my fucking mind? No. But it did get me excited for the future of Many Eyes. It's not like I heard this and I'm going like, oh, Keith's doing his little thing over there. I'm going like, oh, okay. You know, it's not perfect yet, but I can see in the non Every Time I Die Keith Buckley universe, I can see a lot of good music coming in the future. And also, and I'll say it again, there was a lot of good songs on here. I think I named like half the album. Yeah, like Revelation, Harbinger, Speechless, Amateur, Enough. That's half the album. Half of this album ripped pretty fucking hard. So I think that needs to be acknowledged and needs to be appreciated. But yeah, like once again, if you want to see the full album reaction, go over to the DTL R&R channel. If not, that's fine. Hit the subscribe button. We do podcasts every Friday. I try to drop album reviews every week. And yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Have a good time. Be about it. Peace.